been that ever since. Things just unfold.
That's a powerful mantra too, just to kind of hold that Satori and be in. It's like a flow state and being in the moment, and that's really where anything really is. It's either right here, right now, in the moment. Righteous. And so you guys, okay, cool. And that, coming from broadcasting from Santa Cruz, I mean, we have a powerful legacy of skateboard culture. And did you ever make it out to Santa Cruz in your times as a skater? There it is. It's so classic. It's still, I mean, we got our sound engineer goes to Derby with his son all the time.
And so from there, we cruise down, do a night run, go camp out at the beach down there, hit Derby Park, get Derby, go out shops, Bill's Wheels, Skateworks, the whole Strubing family, definitely skate with Justin, Strubing back in the day a lot in the city. And yeah, I used to make Santa Cruz quite a lot more than when I was kind of in that area. Mike Dare and Joey Tertier from does Ace Trucks and part of Diamond now. Like, we used to always just hang out and go down to the Wednesday farmers market in Santa Cruz. That was like a ritual.
No, it still is a ritual probably always will be for the community here. And I mean, especially with that natural living, kind of more of a, an organic approach to what you eat and what you do, and, what you imbibe and bring into your psyche and your body and into your community. And can you speak to this plant specifically? Like, how did this plant kind of come into your life, and what about this plant, drew you to these works?
Yeah, good question. I was more drawn to like natural living, but before I was more drawn to the cannabis plant itself. I grew up like the fifth of six kids, and so my older brothers were always trying to get me to smoke. And I was like, yeah, when I'm ready. And so I remember that day, it was like my oldest brother, and I had a party with him. And I was like, all right, well, if I'm going to smoke, I want to smoke with, my family and experience this plant. And just felt like I was, at that time, I was, probably 17 at that time. So I wasn't too old, but, just waiting. And so, yeah, from that point, experiencing the plant kind of blew me away. Actually, it was like extremely almost psychedelic the first few times, because I grew up in a totally different kind of conservative world, and just the experiences ingesting cannabis. And I must say, like, from the get-go, I was lucky enough to experience the high-grade cannabis. Never really experienced like the Mexi style
with all the seeds and stems. The brick wheat.
Yeah, so it just became a part of my lifestyle really quick, and we were already catapulting into the organic lifestyle in the skateboard industry. And so, focusing on the hemp and the cannabis, and then kind of integrating both in the late 90s into, cultivating, underground our own plants, and like commercially to the scale that it's at today. But, it's always been kind of part of the culture. So,
speak more to that, because I think that, yeah, that's a very important, it's a beautiful culture. I like how you said it, and it's natural living, but there's this, this roots culture connection. And I remember seeing your more recent projects of Talking Trees Farms, and kind of communing with Sunshine and K Mud up at Reggae on the River. But I mean, there's a synergy here between organic food, natural living. Of course, cannabis kind of is part of this, but also the roots culture of Rastafari and reggae music, and that interwoven into kind of like Northern California lifestyle. I think that's important to recognize, to embrace. Um, Luton Faya and Junior Kelly. I mean, they say how Rasta, California is, and in essence, a powerful place to facilitate the culture and to spread that kind of way of life, and the message that comes through the music.
No, totally, totally. Actually, and funny enough, the artists you just mentioned were like, I was present at their first ever debut in California.
Oh yeah, of course.
Very early 2000s, and no one really knew who the fire was. And same with Albert Rosie, we did a demo and brought skateboarding to Jamaica.
Wow. Wow. That's right. Yes, I.
Full grassroots, coming from the country, community, outside of the normal society, with these subcultures. So and they interacted really well with each other, and definitely a lot of underground business was going on in those days too, amongst those cultures. So
The tour culture. Well, and cannabis was like a glue that brought people together. It sounds like, in big time. Yeah, the circle. Bringing us. And Alberosi is a great example because he's from Italy, but I mean that sound is like he's rocking these festivals currently. But you're right, it was another generation, and being so interwoven in the skateboard culture. That's another key thing. Santa Cruz, we're so rich. There's a lot of the surf culture is rich here with the Jack O'Neill family, but of course skateboarding is also a big part of our heritage and legacy, and cannabis is a big supporter of all of those endeavors and all of those pioneers, and then the relationships I feel like are forged through the glue of the circle and the sharing of the plant. And yeah, it's powerful. It's cool to give a good look back and reverence to the progression over the years, and how things can hopefully continue to evolve in a righteous way, despite all the crazy stuff that's happening in compliance, and all of this work is it's an ongoing process, that's for sure. You were a bit of a pioneer when it came to bringing hemp and creating hemp products and bringing those to market. And can you speak to that a little bit about it's part of the philosophy and the lifestyle and the values, but those original forging of relationships and bringing hemp into the market. Can you speak to that, and maybe even forecasting how hemp will impact our lives in the future too? All these CBD products that are coming to market.
in 2000, we were trying to be a sustainable company. When we launched our first catalog, we had a hemp recycled polyester beanie and a hemp recycled polyester belt. And then so when we started to look at the printable side of things, we're like, oh, organic cotton, hemp t-shirts. Organic cotton is a little bit cheaper. But as we started to roll out both, we're like, well, and this is kind of before the sustainable culture was a little bit more prevalent than it is in the education and knowledge of the consumer. And so we found it that back then that an organic cotton t-shirt was hard to sell for like $2 more than a conventional cotton t-shirt. But a hemp t-shirt made with hemp could sell for $4 more and have a little bit more sell ability to sell because of the word hemp. And that was good for us because that's what we wanted to do, to be most sustainable. And like, it's not even about comparing, like, say, the margins of the business. It's more about the ideals of the business because the margins were less. But even though the hemp was a little bit more expensive, it had more marketability than just being organic back then because it was a little bit more cliche. And so we just pretty much went all in on the hemp. Got into bamboo for a little while as well, but when it comes down to it, hemp is the most sustainable natural fiber on the planet.
Wow, righteous. I think in natural fiber, but even when you look at building materials and nutrition and maybe even biofuels and paper, I mean, we're living in a time where the emperor wears no clothes and the writings of Jack Hare, they're all coming to fruition. I mean, it's the healing of the nation. Hopefully, we can see a lifetime of kind of returning to the role of natural stewards of the earth, and this plan is a great reminder of, how nature can provide. I think it's a good little segue too to talk about, the way you live and taking that approach to the way you grow. No pesticides at Talking Trees Farms, right? You guys are you're you're aligned with Mother Nature. That's right. Yeah, same. Oh yeah.
Surprises me to see, like, when people are recalling products and there's microbutanol and, people using Eagle 20 stuff. It's like, wow, it's really not that hard. You just got to put the steps in place from clone on and take care of them organically, but regimentedly, you know, regular maintenance, regular IPM treatment with organic or, biofungicides type stuff like, sulfur, stuff like that in early veg. And it's not hard, there's no reason to use pesticides or chemical fertilizers because they're just not necessary.
Seen, agreed. Yeah, no, and you can evolve. You guys, what I remember hearing from, what kind of cultivars is, I think another piece too is, genetics, giving, growing the right things for your environment and being a little more mindful of, what you put in the garden. Maybe the Indian landrace that turns into a massive hedge, is not the most, commercially viable cultivar, even though it is a botanical wonder. But there's different approaches to setting up grows for success. And I mean, what cultivars are you excited about this year? And just give us a little bit of like, what is Craig smoking on? I know it's a rabbit hole. We could talk all night, but it's always fun to hear what.
And our goal is like trying to get ahead of like the strains that are out today, and hopefully focus on strains that'll be out tomorrow or that are just emerging, and focus on growing quite a bit of that. So We're trying to get away from the OG SC. We're doing, we're in it. We're in the white market. We're subject to the BTC, and now it's going to be all about the new varieties, the new strains that come out. And so trying to work closer with seed companies that have exciting genetics coming out, and trying to work ahead of season and build relationships and start, kind of semi-mass producing what they're working on, kind of laboratory status. This year, I could say we have over 50 strains, and it's too. But we're also doing, starting to work more, and haven't done so much in the past on breeding projects and picking things out, and trying to get into some of our own genetics, which will take a couple of years. Different stuff. Um, and some of them are kind of new, exciting things that some other breeders are putting out. We have the blueberry muffin from Humboldt Seed Company, and
Nice. Oh, nice. Miss USA represent. Yeah, I got some of those in my garden too. They're beautiful. I like the structure. Always.
the focus of having a garden that's essentially pre-sold, whether it be for our own needs or to work with partners that have needs for fresh frozen and desired genetics, or brands that need to support and need to work with good farmers. And so it's all trying to get on the model of developing business rather than I'm going to grow it and figure out who comes to buy it, because it's going to be hard moving in that direction like most people have operated in the past.
Seen. No, that's really important. That's another segment too. Is maybe it's not the biggest wallets that will survive, but it's those that are smart. It's kind of what you shared with Chip Baker. Shout out to Mr. Chip. And that's a whole segment about some key strategies for getting the business piece lined up for success, and setting up relationships for joint success. I think there's a lot of ways that we can complement each other. There's a lot of ways, especially in Santa Cruz. I mean, it's an ongoing theme. Is we're the second smallest county in the state, so co-locating or specialization, or like you said, developing a relationship with maybe another group that this whole like contract grows, or having it spoken for it maybe even before it was planted. And that's a win-win for so many people, because I'm finding that the bigger distributors are having trouble finding the one strain where they can make a very great vape line with the cartridges, and then having the concentrates that complement the flowers, and then even the smalls to make the pre-rolls, all the same cultivar. And that would require working with a farm that is doing things in a reverent and righteous way naturally, to kind of say, okay, great, I know that this is going for that group, for these lines, product lines. It's going to get to market. They're all compliant. We're compliant, and it's a win-win all around. And I think it's an exciting development, because it's a bit of an evolution as far as the ganja culture of California, but it's business, and we are in a compliant era. And it's important too that more of our community gets compliant, so we can help shape this industry in something that reflects our values, similar to Satori and skateboard culture. And that's a whole nother industry. There's OEMs and brands, and but agriculture and cannabis is pretty special. And there's as long as we can all kind of support and get through this transition period, there's a lot of potential of some beautiful innovations, especially with breeding and research, and finding ways to harness and bridle the phytotherapies that come from this mighty plant. It's a bit of a renaissance, and it's exciting to see what will follow. A Satori period of our species, maybe. We'll see. It's just all it's all a balance to all the wild times that we're living in, and I do think it's a grounding force. Is getting us back to business, back to relationships, back to community, and getting smarter, like you said earlier with Chip Baker a bit. Like only the smart people will survive. It doesn't matter how big you are, only how smart you are. I think that's very important to kind of think about, if you're aspiring or transitioning, what's the smart next action, and how can you complement your co-opetition instead of just competing, right? That cooperative spirit. Scene, yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. Always room for evolving. Yeah, it is. It's an ongoing kaizen, always trying to improve, trying our best to kind of level up. I think we got some people on the line here that might have a question, so let's see if I can lock you in before we got people calling in. This is exciting. Let's see here. Okay, cool. You're locked in. I'm gonna put it on. Steve, welcome to the Cannabis Connection. Excuse me. Are you listening in, or do you have a question for us? Yeah. No, absolutely. I'll give you. Yeah, I'll give. Oh yeah, no. Yeah, let's see if Craig has any thoughts on that. I'll put you back on hold. Thank you, Steve. Cannabis being a complement to maybe help people that maybe suffer from addiction. Sure. Same here.
Family members of mine that are like, my aunts or even my mother, for example, are asking about cannabis to help with like addiction that they've been dealing with in terms of like, oh, I can't go to bed at night. I've been drinking glasses of wine, but I hear this CBD really works. And it's like, let me get you some CBD. Later in the morning than drinking a whole bottle of wine to get you to sleep because you're in pain. And I can't lead them to, strain from their groundedness.
Same. So important. I know veterans too find lots of relief, um, in with the imbalance of prescription drugs and opiates specifically in our current time, finding something like cannabis that is using chemistry native to our system, right? We have these receptors, and ever since we're youth, you know, mother's milk has 2AG, a human endogenous cannabinoid, and so when we imbibe this plant, we're activating receptors and an endogenous cannabinoid system that is actually meant and programmed to regulate pain, sleep too, appetite, memory. I mean, there are some things that we need to forget, right? And trauma, PTSD. I mean, cannabis is powerful therapeutic phytotherapy, right? That can serve um, a lot of healing for a lot of people. And I think sometimes, yeah, addiction is a symptom of some sort of, yeah. Oh, there you go.
Getting all my friends riled up, like always ready, a little too anxious, like thinking of everything that could happen. And, you gotta have a time to relax. And so that's what cannabis really helps me is like at the end of the day, like just calm down, like smoke a joint, just that ritual and that experience is calming. And then afterward, like, oh, stoners can't remember anything and this and that. I'm like, if I don't remember something, because I'm the kind of person that remembers everything that's important that I need to do, it's like, well, if I don't remember, it must not have been that important.
Yeah. Perspective. Yeah. No, same. I mean, well said. That is resonating and deep. Feel that. Yeah, personally too. I don't. I haven't had drop alcohol for a few years because of this plant, because of just the balance. I had a whole period in my youth too that touring in a band. We used to get paid in alcohol. Like pizza. So it's not it's nice to have an alternative, and to evolve as a person, and to kind of get back to that grounded state of yeah, bringing it back to homeostasis. That's certainly what it does. um, and we're flying through this hour. We kind of missed our break, so let's take a quick break. My guest tonight is Craig of Satori Movement, Satori Wellness, Talking Tree Farms. Very, very great conversation we're having. Thank you all for joining us. We'll be right back after a quick break. You're listening to the Cannabis Connection on KSCO Santa Cruz.
Did you know that you can experience medical benefits of cannabis without feeling altered? Jade Nectar, specializing in non-intoxicating cannabis formulas that maximize medical benefits while minimizing or completely avoiding the psychoactive effects of THC.
He go on for so
Our
long, and I
patients are
thought,
able
well,
to
maybe he
experience
changed his
effective
mind.
relief while being
So
free
I was like, I'll go grab a cup of water real quick.
But he
You're,
made it.
saying it as I was like,
Oh, I didn't even know.
okay.
That's classic. You made it.
Rooted in community, Treehouse serves up
Perfect.
connoisseur cannabis
Perfect.
culture daily for medical and
He's
adult
got a
use
skater.
customers.
Oh, what's his name?
Treehouse specializes
Craig,
in edibles
Satori
and
Movement.
concentrates.
The one that's
We
in
offer a
Monica.
wide selection.
Sorry, I got
of
the YouTube going.
flowers.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, I'm just starting new. I'm trying new things.
Okay.
No, I'll show you a picture of him. I'm sure you've seen his brand before, Satori Movement. Okay, I'll show it to you. It's kind of Rasta. But yeah, he was a pro skater. He knows derby. He knows all the spots.
Yeah, he was saying that most people don't talk about there.
He's OG, man. He's like from like mid '90s. He was a skater, and then he started his business in '98, and then moved to Humboldt. and it's just been there for like 20 years. Yeah. So he loves skateboarding. That's his root. And then cannabis is developed after, But no, I dig. We have mutual friends. That's why I got him on.
GrowFlow software has been designed
Super cool.
specifically with cannabis cultivation and manufacturing and distribution in mind. GrowFlow is the most user-friendly platform available for state reporting. GrowFlow provides an all-in-one system for cannabis businesses. Book a free trial today at getgrowflow.com and connect with a specialist that will help you organize your inventory and best prepare for business. That's getgrowflow.com.
True Origins, a collection of artisan cannabis oils from Santa Cruz, California. Lab verified, pesticide free, available to manufacturers of THC and CBD enhanced edibles or other products. With True Origins, your brand is backed with premium source material combined with leading edge cold pressed ethanol extraction. True Origins delivers a clean and trusted supply line for your business. For more information, visit trueorigins.green.
Welcome back to the Cannabis Connection. The greatest minds in medical cannabis research are coming to UCLA for CanMed 2018. Don't miss this chance to learn from the latest advancements in medical cannabis science from top-notch names in the industry, including the godfather of cannabis research, Dr. Raphael Mechoulam, Bonnie Goldstein, Dr. Ethan Russo, Stacy Gruber, David Mary, and more. Early bird pricing is available. Actually, that's already passed. Sorry about that. June 1st. Buy your ticket to canmedevents.com today. The Cannabis Connection will be there. We're hoping to sit down with some of these great minds in the research. Would love to record some conversations with Dr. Raphael Mechoulam. He's kind of responsible for all that science talk I was sharing before the break about receptors, and he identified THC as the active component in the high, and many other amazing developments. Dr. Ethan Russo coined the term the entourage effect. And another key supporter of the Cannabis Connection, I want to say shout out to Cali Seeds and Clones. This is a great local group that produces high quality and caliber genetics, and not only cuttings, but rooted 4-inch pots, very large teens, rare, hard to find cultivars like the old school AJ Sour Diesel, or these like very fascinating sativas with the quintessential phenotype of a serrated leaf that is just picturesque and nostalgic if someone is kind of new to growing again or rediscovering their relationship with this plant. Cali Seeds and Clones is a great group, highly recommended, and the Cannabis Connection is very grateful for their support. So thank you so much, and check them out. Welcome back to the show. I am your host, Christopher Carr, here with Craig, and we're going to talk a little bit about, obviously cannabis and cannabis stewardship. But one thing that I'm curious about is, you're a big pioneer, Craig, in so many ways. We were just talking over the break of how you're, big in the skate culture, and that was like kind of a bit of a wave as far as cultural, how it took the world by storm. Chip Baker had a good quote too, because I too, I had growing up an uncle that lived in Waterloo, Belgium, and did some traveling in my youth, and little want to do more, obviously. But I've seen the Satori movement picture stickers. And my cousin lives in Maui, so I've seen it out in the islands. I've seen it in Europe, and over and over again. This is there's wave after wave of interesting things that you're a part of, and now with being a compliant operator of a farm, but you're also a compliant operator of a retail establishment, Satori Wellness. And can you just speak to some of the, accomplishments, but also some of the challenges, like the Bureau of Cannabis Control kind of showing up, and what comes with being, on their radar, I guess. Oh wow. Oh wow.
The ability to actually open. So it's been a long struggle, and so yeah, that just opened in March, and then we got visited by the BCC the first time in June, and they kind of let us know that they'd be back in September, and lo and behold, they showed up first thing this morning and did a tour and compliance check with us, and we have quite a team, a great team actually, and we're kind of just been following the regulations and trying to do everything as legit as we possibly can, and everything went well. We actually visited 3 of my locations today.
Oh man. Just a little bit. It's God. Oh yeah.
We try to be as organized and efficient as possible.
I'm glad to hear it. Well,
To come and rain down on you and shut you down. They're more just like, we're working on this together. Once Track and Trace comes on, we want to see you guys to be where you need to be. And so the vibe was really mellow, it wasn't too aggressive. And I think right now the state of California is doing a good job at kind of slowly integrating everybody into this new metric that they're putting us into, legalization, being pretty lenient in getting there as long as they feel you're making the effort.
That resonates. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. That was way more positive than I anticipated. I'm so happy to hear that went so well. No, that's great. No, that's promising. Jeez, I see. It's like mentoring a little bit. I mean, they're helping you refine your business in a way. I mean, obviously to bring it up to compliance, but I mean, this is all good best practices stuff that we are excited to implement, right? It's regulated. Well, sure, you're right. Yeah, I agree.
Offer product to the market that's full of pesticides or Eagle 20 and all that stuff. So, I mean, legalization and all this regulation is going to lead to cleaner product to the end consumer, and I'm all for that in respects, and that's kind of what we've always been about. So it's not like a huge challenge for us because we've always tried to grow organically grown, clean, pesticide, mildew, mold-free products. So it's kind of norm for the course for us, and it's showing in our testing because we're testing every week, actually with SC Labs out of Santa Cruz, and passing every week and getting more product out to the legal market. And so it's kind of interesting.
No, yeah. No, give thanks. Congrats. I mean, I'm just happy to hear a positive testimonial, and it makes sense. And I think we had our local resource planner on a couple weeks back, and I feel like we're all in this together is their mantra, as well as ours, and I think that's a powerful place. It's a strong foundation to build upon, and that's part of this process of legalization and a new compliant California cannabis trade is, we're all kind of flying the plane as we build it, and providing leniency and more advice, I guess is the best way of putting it. It's probably the best route of setting everyone up for success, including regulators. Because if they make it too hard on the operators, there's no one is going to be compliant. So we're having a balancing act here in Santa Cruz of trying to get more of our legacy operators into the regulated system. And it's a process. It's a challenge for sure. And in some ways too, these operators, there's a bit of a learning curve as far as Excel and spreadsheets and just learning the skills needed to run and manage a business and scale it, as a next action too. Um, that's a whole nother game, whole nother realm that a lot of us as farmers were just kind of excited about just farming. So it's another process. And exactly, the CPA uncles and aunts and really. So, oh my goodness.
It's a good transition that they're giving us this time to kind of learn and get our ducks in a row, because it is going to be laborious. It's going to be a lot of data entry, and it's either rise to the occasion or find something else to do.
Yeah, seen definitely. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to see some of our legacy brands either stop or move away, or I mean, yeah, there's a bit of a culling of the herd, and that cream is certainly rising to the top. But the hope too is to preserve the culture, right? Similar to what we open with, which is our roots, lifestyle, natural living, Rastafari, um, and cannabis culture. I mean, that's a part of our, heritage as Emerald Triangle, as Humboldt County, as Santa Cruz County, all along the West Coast. And the more of us that are compliant, the more of us that are, you know, legal, tax-paying business owners and operators, and the more our voice can be, you know, legitimized and provide clout, and we can kind of, you know, level up not only as business people but as community leaders. I think there's a lot that can come with a cannabis coalition in California, and the world is looking to California in so many ways. So the way we do it here could set precedent, similar to how medical set precedent. And it's all eyes on California. Yeah.
Craft brew movement and alcohol, and there's Budweiser, whatever. I don't even want to name all the big clubs. Louis Vuitton. It's the same crap that every other brand makes, but they have a design, motif and marketing ability about themselves that makes their value worth more. And there's no reason that that's not going to happen in cannabis too. So it's all up to the owner, operator, creative minds to kind of create their niches, because it's a wide open canvas at this point, the way I see it. And as regulations sit right now, if you do have a permit and are able to get a permit and put yourself into the marketplace, like, doors are open right now. So we do have an advantage that all the corporate businesses really aren't coming into like 23.
That's right. Yeah, I believe there's a 5-year period.
Markets, because we don't have the huge mega corporations in just yet. Well, maybe we do. He's like, moving in left and right. So I'll check myself on that one. I think.
See. They're coming from the north. Yeah, I noticed that. What are you talking about? Eh? Buying our dispensaries, eh? Scene. Jeez. Well, that's crazy. Well, Craig, we're right up at the top of the hour. It's been a pleasure, and I just want to say thank you for joining us, and we'll do this again sometime, and come visit Santa Cruz. I'd love to show you our farm and share some seeds for you guys. Righteous. Well, you've been listening to the Cannabis Connection. Give thanks, Craig, and stay up, Santa Cruz. Peace out.